Hey everybody, welcome back. I saw this great new game that was in the forum, so I decided this will be the next one for game analysis. So let's go ahead and take a look. Our player that sent this in was the black pieces. And let's go ahead and take a look at this. So d4, played by white, knight f6, c4, g6, so we're going for a King's Indian defense. And white chooses the g3 setup. The very thematic move I like is e4, which is one of the main choices. And, well, this is one of the main choices, too. And they're both good. Okay, castling. Knight f3, d6, bishop g2. And so both sides just, are developing at this point. Okay. c6, bishop g5. h6, kick the bishop away, so the bishop moves back. And here is where black can and should play e5 to hit the center. Because you need to hit the center at some point. And white takes on d5, or takes on e5, which he probably shouldn't do. I think that he could just play some other useful move like queen c2. Because here's what happens. If takes, either way that black takes back is good for black, I think. I think you're kind of helping him. Because this knight can take. This is one option. And then the knight is definitely better on e5 than it was on d7. And that's if the knight takes. And if the pawn takes, well, now it's this pawn is better on this square. Because it's essentially now that white just traded the d4 pawn for the d6 pawn, which the pawn on d4 is definitely controlling more of the center than the d6 pawn. That's basically what it's like just happened. Okay. White plays queen c1, so we have an obvious threat here, so king h7. Knight e1, I think that white is wasting a little bit of time with knight e1 because we're moving backwards. And here black plays knight h5 with the idea, the usual, f5 that's common in the King's Indian setups. So white plays g4 here. And this does weaken the king side a little bit here because pushing this pawn. And so black decides to play knight to f4. We don't want to worry about this bishop taking here because after the bishop takes, pawn takes, queen takes, white is up a pawn right now, but that's not really to worry about because you have this nice bishop on the long diagonal that cannot be opposed by an enemy bishop. And also, to hold on to that pawn is kind of difficult. So in the game, black plays f5, but actually one other possibility that seems pretty good to me is knight to e5. Because you're threatening immediately to get back a pawn, you're centralizing the knight, and say white tries to hold on to it with something like f3 or h3, just to try to defend the pawn, something like that. Well, that makes the next move that black plays even better because you've centralized a knight and provoked a weakness. So something like that maybe is something that could be considered. But in any case, the immediate f5 as played isn't bad either because you're immediately hitting, with that break. And after g takes, rook takes, black does get a bit of activity. And also the king has, been weakened after the g4 push a little bit. So let's see here. Let's see what black does. Queen h4. Knight f3. And white goes ahead and sacrifices for the knight. And that's okay. One other possibility that could be considered is actually just taking on c4 and saying, I'm up a pawn and I have a better position, or we have even material, rather, and I just have a slightly better bishop and I just have a bit of positional pluses. And so that's one possibility. But rook takes f3 does remove the defender of the king side, and so it lets black continue attacking. So E takes f3, bishop e5, and we have a checkmate threatened. So h3 to prevent that. Knight f6. And knight f6 actually does give white a slight opportunity here, because he could do something like rook f to e1. And, he just has that brief moment. And, it does give him, some squares to maybe slip out to as possibilities. So that some of those dangers of checkmates on h2 and those weak squares may be not so easy anymore. Okay, so knight takes e4. Oh, after knight e4, knight takes e4. F takes. Bishop takes h3. And now here white makes a pretty critical mistake. He plays f3. If just bishop takes, queen takes, and f4, it's actually pretty even here. And it looks like after, bishop d4, queen takes, I think we have a perpetual. And so I think that black or white rather, could have escaped with something like that. But instead f3 is played. And after f3, rook to d8, and then white resigns, because a lot of material is going to be lost very soon. And black is very, very winning in this position. So, an interesting game. So everyone should send me in some more games if you have something interesting to share. And also, as always, add in annotations. Like in this game, there were some nice annotations that were added to let me really know what you were thinking. So yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for sending me this game. See you next time.